Well, here we go. Final hour of our last Wildcat Insider for the 23-24 academic year. Mitch Fortner alongside the voice of the Cats, Wyatt Thompson. If you missed hour one of the show, we shared some of our memories of the 2023 football season. K-State women's basketball landing a pretty big recruit. A little baseball, a little golf. Now we're going to jump into men's basketball. Still to come at 5:25, we'll be joined by the man himself. That is the head coach of the Wildcats in Jerome Tang. But we're double dipping. We're going two interviews back to back. And let's lead off this second hour Wildcat Insider with assistant coach and also special assistant to the head coach, Anthony Winchester, now joins us here on Wildcat Insider. Well, Coach, have you had much of an offseason from the last game in the NIT to getting into the recruiting? Have you had much time off lately?
That's a great question, actually. And the answer is no. With the portal right now, I mean, it's an everyday thing, and it's been good. I feel good about where we're at. I think we're going to see some guys here hopefully pretty soon, and I feel pretty good about what we're putting together for this next year.
Anthony, welcome. It's good to have you on with us. Excuse me. I appreciate you being on, and I would just ask you to kind of take us through this last year for you. Your role was a little bit different, or quite a bit different. Kind of take us through that and what it was like for you, sir.
Yeah. No, it was really good. Obviously, with the new rules, you can have a couple extra coaches on the court. And for me, that's where my passion is, on the court, and helping the players get better every day. I was more involved with the scouting reports and, different things like that and the day-to-day stuff too. So I think for my growth, it was really good. Obviously, Coach, he believed in me, and he gave me that role, and it's been really good, in my growth. So,
is coaching something you wanted to do once you left? When you went to Western Kentucky and then got out of pro ball, was coaching something you wanted to do? No doubt about it, or is that something you just maybe somebody talked you into doing it?
That's a good question. I always do that. I love basketball. I grew up in Indiana, and ever since I was little, that's all I've done. So, if I wasn't doing something around basketball, to be honest, I don't know what I'd be doing. But, after I played professionally, I took a few years off and just kind of traveled a little bit, and I think that was really fun too. But there was always something was always kind of drawing me back to basketball, and yeah. So.
I did a little bit of research on you to prepare for this interview, and I was reading through the bio because you mentioned you're from Indiana. You're from Austin, Indiana. Is that right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So I did a quick Google of Austin, Indiana. I wanted to learn more, and when I did the Google, I pulled up a map, and I noticed you are centrally located in between Bloomington, Indiana, Cincinnati, Ohio, Lexington, Kentucky, Louisville, Kentucky. Where you grew up, you were surrounded by great college basketball. So where you went to high school, was that a melting pot of college basketball fans, and who did you personally root for growing up?
Oh, absolutely it was. You mentioned Bloomington, and it's really close to Bloomington, but it's also about an hour and a half from Lexington. And to be honest, everybody in Austin, Indiana loves the Kentucky Wildcats. Just absolutely goes crazy for them. Now, for me, it was a little different. I was an Indiana fan. I was a Kentucky fan, I guess, but once I got older, and I kind of went through the recruiting process, and I took some visits and stuff, and, and then, obviously going to Western Kentucky, I guess I became a Western Kentucky fan. But it was really great to grow up in that area. You had Indiana, who was really good. Kentucky was really good, and Louisville was right there too. So, like you said, it was a melting pot for college basketball and for high school basketball as well.
Anthony, we've always heard what Indiana high school basketball is. Can you describe it for us and what it was like for you? Because growing up, you had to know what everybody was saying about Indiana high school basketball and how great it was.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And you mentioned Austin as well, and that's in Austin too. It's kind of what it kind of revolves around too. Growing up, so we didn't have a football team, we didn't have a soccer team. You either played baseball or basketball, and sometimes both. But like it's just it's a small town. Like I graduated with maybe 80 kids and maybe 250 kids in the high school, but it was pretty neat though, because like anytime I go back, I know everyone, right? I mean, you walk down the street, like you go to the gas station, you see somebody you went to high school with or someone's uncle, and everybody knows everybody, and I wouldn't change that for the world.
All right, so not only did you played high school, college, and you played some pro ball, a lot of it in Spain. So you played a lot of basketball. What K-State guard, either from this team or last year's team or maybe even coming up, played similar to how you used to play?
Ooh, that's a tough one, to how I used to play. Well, I was a shooting guard. But also scored a little bit. Like I didn't, like on the defensive end, I was just okay. But I tried really hard. If I had to compare a guy, man, that would be tough, to be honest. I like to shoot, so I would say I like to shoot kind of like Keith did a little bit. I guess you could say he had a green light and he could pull up anytime he wanted to, and I kind of had that in my bag as well too. Sometimes it would get me on the bench. Sometimes it would leave me in the game, depending on if it went in or not, I guess.
Well, I want to jump back to now what you're doing now as an assistant coach under Jerome Tang with the transfer portal open. We all know, we've heard the stories of how hectic it could be, guys jumping in daily, and you're looking at all of them. So what is like a daily routine for you on when it is transfer portal recruiting time? Yeah,
like it's a little bit different every day, I guess. But the main thing that I try to do is I try to help and keep us organized, I guess, on like who's going in, who is currently in the portal. You're having to watch a lot of guys every day. Like you're just having to watch them, like obviously with the number of guys going in, like everyone can't be a fit. So I think for us, we've been having to filter through that and to find the right guys who are good for our program. And it's a lot. It's a lot, especially after the season ended with the amount of guys who were going in. I mean, every day it seems like there's a new guy going in, and you just have to kind of find the right pieces to build a team, I guess.
When you look at the portal, I think most fans are aware of, I believe the numbers are now over about, what, Anthony, 2,000 in the portal?
Yeah.
How in the world do you start to kind of, I know you guys know all of these players or know a little bit about almost all of them, but how do you try to get that whittled down, and how much does the fit part matter for you in helping out here?
Yeah, like I think the fit is the biggest thing, right? I mean, you can go and get the best guys, but if you can't build a team, then I don't think you're going to have a lot of success. And that's what like we've been focusing on, like the right guys for our program and like here at K-State, and just trying to build a team. And it's been revolving around that. And like I said earlier too, it is like there's just a lot of guys in there, so it is a lot of work. It's a lot different than obviously in the past. Like if you're in April and May, a lot of times your roster was set, but like now you're going into May and even June. That first year I think we went into August and we still got a couple guys, so it's a little different in that regard. But like I said too early, hopefully here pretty soon we got some good news too.
Well, that's awesome. Anthony Winchester, assistant coach for the K-State men's basketball team, joins us on Wildcat Insider. So we of course know as of late, and they've been signed now, that Doug McDaniel and C.J. Jones will be joining the team for this upcoming season. It's been well documented about how talented they are, their numbers, and what they've done in their previous stop with their 2 years of eligibility left. They come to K-State. What have you learned about these two gentlemen as you either recruiting them or having them in town for a visit? What have you learned about C.J. Jones and Doug McDaniel that we don't know about them?
Yeah, the first thing is they're just absolutely great kids to be around. Like having them here on their visit and like having some time with them, getting to know them, and they're just awesome in that regard. But also on the flip side of that, they're really good basketball players. And then we talked about the fit too, and I think for what we're trying to do, I think it's a good fit for for us and them.
All right, I'm going to wrap up on this because, again, I said I went through your bio earlier, and you played in Spain, multiple stops. I want to know what it's like playing professional basketball in Spain. Is it a lot different than what you find in atmospheres in college basketball, or is there similarities, or are there a lot of differences?
I think they have some different aspects of it, too. You know, one of the questions I would get a lot, like when I would come home, like, everyone would be like, did you get to travel a lot? Like, I bet that was like a lot of fun. It was a vacation. And it's really not, because you're over there. It's your job. You know, you would practice a couple times a day. Mm-hmm. And like you would play a couple games a week. So like the free time, like you didn't have a lot of it. And if you did have a lot of free time, like you're probably rested. But like the culture was really great to learn and to just to see that and to meet new people and like to have some teammates. Like you know, throughout the years, I still keep in touch with a lot of my teammates, a lot of my coaches as well too. I mean, it was a great learning experience for me, and really enjoyed my time in Spain.
Well, from high school ball in Indiana to Western Kentucky to pro ball in Spain, and now you're here with us at K-State. You have experienced many atmospheres. But as an assistant coach here at K-State, this is my last question here, but maybe it's the most important one. When you're at a media timeout, you're doing some of your most important work of either making adjustments or game plan, whatever, during those media timeouts, and then the lights go down, flashlights are on their cell phones are on, and Sandstorm is blaring. How easy is it to focus on your job when all that chaos is going on?
Oh, it's really hard. I'm going to be honest. The first time that they did it, I think it was last year. I can't remember which game exactly, but like obviously, so we didn't know that it was about to happen, right? And then the lights go down. You see all the cameras get out. You're kind of looking around, and then like you're like, oh, I got to pay attention, right? And I think a lot of the guys in the huddle were doing the same. It was just unbelievable. It's like the first time they did that, and then like obviously we've done it some more times, but like I haven't ever seen anything like that, and it was just an awesome experience.
Well, it's great to have you here in Manhattan, Anthony, and I really appreciate your time, and best of luck, again, working the transfer portal and bringing the best guys to Manhattan. Thank you, Coach, for your time. Really appreciate it.
Yes, sir. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Once again, that is assistant coach, special assistant to the head coach, Anthony Winchester, here on Wildcat Insider, but don't go anywhere. We're not done talking K-State men's basketball. Up next, the man himself, Jerome Tang, joins us on Wildcat Insider, coming up next.
Yo.
I'm Mitch Fortner with a Game Sports Update. Jeff Mittie has added one of the nation's top scorers from this past season to his team out of the transfer portal, signing today. Tulsa forward transfer Tamaya Poindexter. This past season at Tulsa, setting records for points in a single season with 734, field goals made in a season with 265, and three-point field goals made in a season with 85. She ranks second in school history for points per game at 21 a contest is what she averaged this past year. And with this past season's work, she was named the AAC Player of the Year and was an honorable mention All-American. Last year of eligibility will be with the Cats this upcoming season. To K-State baseball, righty Jackson Wentworth was named the Big 12 Pitcher of the Week. He threw in 3 games this past week, 9 innings total, 3 hits, 1 run allowed in those 9 innings. He leads the Big 12 and is third in the nation with a whip of .085, and his 7.78 strikeout to walk ratio is 9th best in the country. Up next for the Batcats, they host Omaha Tuesday for a 6 o'clock first pitch. Royals baseball tonight here on K-Man against the Toronto Blue Jays. Game 1 of 4. First pitch is 6:40 and pregame at the top of the hour. Wildcat Insider continues. Mitch Fortner and the voice of the Cats, Wyatt Thompson to my right. We just had Anthony Winchester on. And now we are joined by the head coach of the Wildcats. He is Jerome Tang. This upcoming season will be his 3rd season with the Wildcats. And, Coach, of course, we always appreciate your time. We'll lead off the same way like we did with Coach Winchester. And that is just about how hectic this time of the year is, and have you had much off time with the transfer portal opening after March or after Selection Sunday?
You guys are comedians all the time.
No doubt.
Oh no, yeah, it's this thing season ended, and recruiting was full tilt. It's full tilt. We are rocking and rolling. Had a few kids in last week, and I have 4 or 5 going through this week, and hopefully we can wrap everything up by the end of this week, early next week, and then there could possibly be some downtime.
Well, I know you're probably looking forward to that, and as you said, certainly good work has been done, more to come, and so many things that we want to ask you about right out of the gate, but we'd be remiss if we didn't ask you about Anthony Winchester. We had him on just a moment ago and asked him about his first year in a different role, and I'll ask you about him here. Just give us a thought of I know you think he's a really good young coach and is making his way, but just your thoughts on his first year in that different role.
Man, A-Dub's a stud. You know, he just is. Just like, there's nothing that he can't do. He does everything at a very, very high level, and does it in a way that he just makes everybody feel good about themselves when he's around them. And so just so blessed to have him on staff. And, you know, I know his title changed, and, you know, he did such a great job. I mean, he just handled strictly video, and now this year he moved and he's doing some on-court and, you know, scouting and a ton of recruiting, and still helping with video and, you know, helping Frankie along. Then his role of mentoring our GAs. You know, so he's just done a terrific job, and, you know, sky's the limit for that young fella. And with all of that going on, and he still had time to get engaged and all of that. I mean, wow.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Yeah, it's incredible. You know, and he's you know, him and Bailey, they put all the stuff together for our camp, and so we're excited about another great summer with camps, and so it's yeah, he does a terrific job, man.
Coach, you mentioned, or I guess Mitch mentioned there, going into your third year. I don't know if that caught your attention like it did mine, but let's talk about those camps since you mentioned that, because they're coming up. I'm going to guess they've been growing in the time that you've been here, and I know you're looking forward to it. You always do. That's a big time for K-State basketball.
Yeah, you know, man, I like really, I like all the camps, but those parent-child camps, man, there's something special. Just to see moms with their sons, dads with their daughters, just the mix, the dads with their sons, and, you know, moms with their daughters. And what's funny is the parents who think that they're just going to show up and watch their kids, they don't realize that they're participating in the camp. That's great, man, to watch that. And you know, the camp's over, and we got a bunch of sore parents, and you know, kids who think they're just the best thing in the world. Their parents are, because they watch them compete against our guys, and you know, so it's just a great bonding time that takes place, and I believe that those kids are going to remember that for the rest of their lives, and what heroes their parents were for doing that for them. And so it's just a great time. And then we have the junior Wildcat camp, and also the Wildcat camp. So we have something for kids of all ages. It's going to be a great basketball time. Our guys are going to be around. Our whole staff is around the whole time. And so it's just a great time. Looking forward to it.
You know, Coach, the parent thing you just mentioned at the camps, that's no joke. I have a cousin that always brings her sons to your camps as long as they're age eligible, and she told me that the next day she had a tough time getting out of bed, so that's no joke, getting these parents some workouts. So I know you've talked about this on a whole bunch of other shows, but allow the radio guy to ask you the same question. That is, of course, you know, the last couple of weeks ago, you know, it was talked about that you were thinking about taking the Arkansas job, but you stay here in Manhattan. So the question you've probably gotten a whole bunch is, why did you decide that K-State is the place to be and to stay here?
Yeah, you know, first of all, it's just a blessing to be in that position, you know, where, you know, schools want you. It means that our staff has done a great job, and we've had really good plays. Right? You know, that's what that means. And so the credit is to those guys. And but ultimately, when I make decisions, I go down my checklist. What does God say about this situation? And check the box that I'm okay there. And then number two is what's best for my family. And with both Seven and Island could both graduate this year from K-State, and me just moving my parents to Manhattan, and my wife, she actually used the term, "You let me fall in love with this house." And and so when your family's happy and they're okay, and you make decisions that are best for your family, not for myself, and not that going would have been best for me, but you have ambition, the things that pull at you. People give you their opinions, and there are two things that I always remembered watching other guys when I was an assistant take head jobs and move and do things, and I always heard, don't mess with happy, and then go where you're celebrated, not where you're tolerated. And I am happy. My family's happy. It's a wonderful place. Gene Taylor's just the best guy in the world to live life with. And I know me and my staff, we wouldn't want to do it with anybody else. And then I just love our fan base, man. They're just this place is just a terrific place. It's very special, and my heart is connected here. And I truly believe we're going to win a national championship here. And so I'm excited to do that and bring a parade to Manhattan.
Coach, I know you probably get asked this every day too, but I'm curious if you would want to comment a little bit about Wildcat NIL and what they're doing right now. It looks like they have really, really good momentum going, no end in sight. How do you feel about how those people are working in unison with Gene, yourself, K-State basketball, and K-State athletics in general?
Yeah, well, I mean, those three young fellas, man, Curry and Pearson and those guys have grabbed the proverbial bull by the horn, and they are running with this thing, and they're doing a terrific job. And I couldn't be more pleased and to partner with them, and so thankful to Gene, jumping on board and just picking one. We got one NIL group, and they represent us, and we support them, and then our fans have been just terrific. Jumping on board the campaign to get to 1,000 members rolling. I think last I saw we're 890, so 110 away. And man, I just encourage everyone to sign up. I mean, for as little as $10 a month, you can be a part of something special. When we get this thing to 1,000, there's a donor out there who will match $1 million to it, and it's going to help all of our sports. And I just, heard about the Poindexter young lady. I hope I said her name right. And I'm wondering if she's willing to play for both teams. We're talking All-American, 81 threes. And man, I
21 points a game. That's pretty good, buddy.
Yeah, 21 points a game. AC Player of the Year. I could use some of that, Coach Mitty. We could do some schedule and make sure we're not playing on the same nights. And but part of Wildcat NIL, they've done an incredible job, and our fans and our supporters have been unbelievable and giving all the teams, what we need to be able to put a championship roster together and put us on a level playing field with everybody else in the country.
Jerome Tang is our guest. Well, you still picked up a couple of really incredible players, and I'm very excited about, and I love the names, Doug McDaniel, C.J. Jones, not to be confused with R.J. Jones, will be a part of your team next year. What about them skill-wise, personality-wise, just fits the Jerome Tang plan?
And they're both winners. They're both highly competitive winners. They can play multiple positions. Doug is as fast as a guard as there is in the country. And at 6'5" with a 6'7" wingspan, CJ can play the point. He can play off the ball. He's going to cause problems on the defensive end. And neither one of those guys turned the ball over at a high rate. And as you know, last year, man, we just struggled with turnovers. And, this year, we just one of the focus in recruiting is getting guys, finding guys with high IQs and who are highly competitive. And so we're excited about those two guys, excited about the other ones that are going to come in. I think we're going to hopefully be getting some good news here in the next, 2 to 7 days, and as we try to wrap this class up, and our fans are going to be fired up to watch the team that we're going to put on the floor next year. I'll be excited to coach them.
It is an interesting time, isn't it? Did you think you would ever see the portal have more than 2,000 players in it?
Man, first of all, I did not know there was more than 2,000 in there right now, but I do know that every time I'm on the phone, my phone is chirping, and it's like I'm getting, I'm talking to one recruit and 3 more going in the portal.
Sure.
So it's pretty crazy. Yeah, this is just the world that we live in, man. We didn't make the rules, but we got to figure out how to compete in them and within them. And I think it's exciting for the athletes that they get to move around. I know it's exciting and frustrating both at the same time for us as coaches, because it's hard to. You're not going to be able to build a program the way you've done it traditionally in the past. Unfortunately, our fans are not going to be able to grow with a player. There will be very few players that are going to be willing to come in and stay one place and wait their turn and grow and watch them improve a little bit each year, over the course of 4 or 5 years. And so it's different the way it is right now until they change the rules. But it also means that every year, if everybody does their part, we could assemble a roster that can give us a chance to win a Big 12 championship and win a national championship. And so that part of it is super exciting to me.
Coach, I don't know if you have an answer of when you may know, but do you have an idea how long it may be before you know something about David and Arthur and what their future holds at K-State?
Well, I think Art's probably going to go longer.
Okay.
I would think that's probably going to go right up until the very end. He's going to gather as much information as possible to see where he's at. We had a really good conversation the other day, and I loved his tone and his focus. He was, he said, Coach, I couldn't live it myself if I didn't give myself this opportunity. And when a young man says that with passion, purpose, and focus, it fires you up for him and his future, man. And so we're excited. I told him, if he chooses to leave his name in and his name gets called, we're going to cheer louder than anybody else in the country. And if he chooses to take his name out and come back to school, we're going to cheer louder than anybody else in the country. And so he has our full support, and I'm praying for him every day and trying to do everything I can to help him reach his goals and dreams. David, I feel like we should have a decision here pretty close, pretty shortly. I know he's going to talk it over with his parents and, kind of look at, the situation, what's best for him. He's going to graduate here in a few days. And so, I'm excited for him too. And I know that we will be a better team, if he returns. But I also know that if he chooses to leave, that he's been, just great for us to be around, and just such an asset to this program, and forever a Wildcat.
With the addition of Doug McDaniel, you have incredible depth now at point guard, especially with Quez. You said on the 3 Mile podcast that Quez Glover is going to be coming back, and then of course Day-Day Ames. And is there any thought of? I know they could play multiple positions, I'm sure, but with like David Castillo, is there any thoughts of maybe? Is there a red shirt in his future? Have you given that a thought yet?
No, not at all. Just we're going to bring everybody in, and I've always said I'd like to have 2 point guards on the floor at all times, and we have yet to be able to do that for one reason or another. But this year, I do believe that we'll be able to do that, and it's going to be hard for teams to take away what we want to do when you have multiple guys that are decision makers. And it doesn't. When I say 2 point guards, I mean 2 guys who can initiate offense, and even if it's a forward or a wing that is we had a kid 1 year, or actually a couple of years, named Royce O'Neal, and Royce plays with the Suns right now. When Royce is on the floor, he's a point guard. It's like having another point guard on the floor. And so, we're recruiting a couple guys right now that are very similar to that. That when they're on the floor, they make point guard decisions out there, and you can initiate offense through them. And so, I just want like good decision makers out on the floor. It's not having guys limited to any one position. And the great thing about all the guys that you said, they can all score it too. And so that's what you want. You just want weapons on the floor at every position.
Well, Coach, to wrap up, you've been to many Final Fours as a coach and as a fan, as a spectator. Just curious to know, to wrap up on a fun one here, is there a major sporting event on your bucket list that you haven't attended yet, that you top of your list, you want to go someday?
Oh, man. I've never been to any of the Grand Slams in tennis. And, I would like, you Stade Roland Garros, or, those, like either the French Open or Wimbledon, that would be kind of cool. I think New York is kind of too hot for the U.S. Open. I'm not positive, about that one, but I know the other two, it's just, you've watched them, and I think it'd be kind of cool to be at one or both of those events.
By the way, I got to see the New York Tennis Center here recently. You'd be shocked at how big it is. I was amazed at how large it is for a tennis facility. Monster size.
Wyatt, congratulations on calling the Nets game. Did you do like a whole series?
Yeah, I did a series with the Royals and the Mets on a Friday night, and then Saturday and Sunday afternoon. It was amazing. I loved it.
Wow, congratulations. Yeah. Well, that's awesome.
Well, it was really I was the luckiest guy in the world to get a shot. It was fun, man. It really was. Hey, real quick on the if people want information, do they just get a hold of Bailey at the basketball office on your camps?
Yeah, they can go to JeromeTangBasketballCamps.com.
Okay, JeromeTangBasketballCamps.com. Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
All right, well, Coach, that's going to do it for us. Really appreciate your time, and I guess have fun patrolling the portal for these next 2 to 7 days. It sounds like you got your plans already made up. It's kind of always weird to wrap up these interviews because I know you got still a lot on your plate, but I really greatly appreciate your time squeezing us in, and hope to talk to you soon. Thank you so much.
Hey, no problem. Hey, and everybody, don't forget the auction coming up.
Yeah.
Our Wildcat auction is a huge event for us and for the athletic department, and so that's a big deal coming up here on, I think it's Thursday. So
Saturday.
Yeah. I know it's this weekend. Like I tell you, I know like one day at a time. But Saturday, we got to be there and let's support all of athletics.
No doubt.
We'll make sure to plug it. Thank you so much, Coach.
All right, thank you.
That's Jerome Tang here on Wildcat Insider. Really appreciate his time. When we come back, we'll ask Wyatt more about his trip to Kansas City and calling 3 games for the Kansas City Royals as you're listening to Wildcat Insider. Well, we're back to it. We have 11 minutes left of the final Wildcat Insider of 2023-24, but we got to get to the big topic we just unfortunately didn't get to last week because Wyatt was on his way back from New York. And that's Wyatt, you got to call 3 games for the Royals Radio Network in a 3-game series at Citi Field. That's why you got to see Arthur Ashe Stadium. It's because you were pretty close being at Citi Field. I know that area very well. So.
I'll bet. Yeah, it was a thrill of a lifetime, honestly. Everybody knows listening that I love my work at K-State, and I've been the luckiest guy ever. But, to be able to fill in for 3 games for Jake Eisenberg was so much fun. And love being around. I will say this. It was doing the games was even more than I thought it would be. Which is hard to fathom because it's just always been a dream since I was a little tyke, right? But being around the Royals from Thursday basically through Sunday late afternoon was an eye-opening experience in a lot of ways. And what I mean by that is just how welcoming they were, how engaging they were with me, whether it was Q or whether it was the pitching coach or the batting instructor, whatever, some of the players. I mean, it was really an experience and a half, man. It was so hard to describe in a lot of ways, but it was a blast. It really, truly was.
Where'd you guys stay?
We stayed at the Lot New York Palace on Madison Avenue.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So you guys did stay or not downtown, but uptown.
Yeah. Uptown. And it was about, depending on traffic, when we went Friday for the Friday night game, it took us literally about 40 minutes to get there on a bus. And coming home with not as much traffic, it took about half that time. I was surprised at that a little bit, but, you adjust. But traveling with them and experiencing that and the 3 games and the other thing that I have to say too is working with Stu and the TV guys are so fun too. I didn't do any of the TV stuff, but Ryan and Hud and Jeff Montgomery and the whole group. Joel, I don't want to leave anybody out, but they were so good to me, man. And just, do you need anything? Of course, I was asking them all for advice, Why wouldn't you? You have that kind of thing at your disposal, you should ask. But it was indescribable how much fun it was. And the other thing, too, that I have to say on this was that on Sunday they retired Doc Gooden's number. And it's just the 9th number ever retired by the Mets. 3 others have been retired, 2 broadcasters and Bob Shea, as in Shea Stadium. Mm-hmm. But I something that I did that I always wanted to do, I thought there was a little bit of magic there from the standpoint of one of those broadcasters was Ralph Kiner, who happened to be my mom's all-time favorite player.
Oh, wow.
He is a broadcaster with the Yankees, but a big-time player back in the 50s with the Mets, or the Pirates, rather. So that kind of hit home for me, too. It was awesome.
Meal-wise, they took care of you pretty well? I was honestly like some of the more curious things I was about. Where'd you stay? How were the meals?
Well,
'cause you're on the Royals dime, and
yeah, it's hard to describe how nice it is. Those guys, they're treated pretty well, whether it's coaches, players, broadcasters, whatever. I got more of a kick, honestly, though, out of the charter leaving out of the downtown airport from Kansas City to New York, just because of, all of the – they had so much food on the plane. It was crazy, But one thing that I guess I would say about the experience is that it from Friday afternoon through Sunday night seemed like one day, not 3.
Yeah, yeah.
And there wasn't there were a couple of times where I just ate a little bit of a meal, a media meal at the ballpark. Not at a concession stand, but in the media gathering. So, yeah, it was hard to put into the proper perspective of what the experience was like. It was, hope you get to do it someday. It was insane.
But take me through those nerves and when you're going to be on air for the first time. And it's because you've been broadcasting for a long time. That, maybe nerves isn't quite a thing anymore for you.
Well,
but it's just something
I think
totally new.
It's a good question, honestly. And I would be lying if I said I wasn't nervous at all, because it's a different audience. It's a different sport. It's Major League Baseball. All of those things go through your mind. But I remember Ryan Lefevre, who I love, asked me on the plane Thursday night going in there, hey, you want to go grab a cup of coffee or breakfast tomorrow morning? Yeah, let's do that. So,
well, I'll check my Wyatt. I usually get up about 6:45,
but he asked me if I had any questions or whatever, and I told him kind of what my goal was is just to kind of not reinvent the wheel, just have fun, enjoy it. You're going to make a mistake or two. That's live radio, right? But he was so good about, you're on track. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. Just do what you do. And so that's right or wrong. That's what I tried to do. And boy, he couldn't have been more gracious. It was awesome.
And am I wrong? In their booth, they don't wear cans. They don't wear headphones. They just have a stationary mic in front of them. Is that how they still roll?
Well, you mean in the radio booth?
Yeah, in the
Actually,
booth.
They're wearing headsets now.
They are wearing headsets?
In the old days, it was more like the setup that we would have here with boom mics.
I think Denny does it that way still.
He does, yeah. Stu and I wore headsets, and I have to say, too, one of the reasons that I got that opportunity was Eric Guthrie, who's the producer engineer for the Royals Network, who I had a relationship with when he was at Learfield. So there's always, he knew somebody or whatever, right? And I just wanted to say that dude is insanely talented. It's amazing as an engineer and producer what he does every day. Really good at it. Really, you'd have to watch it to appreciate it.
Well, I'm happy you got that opportunity.
Yeah, it was something.
Not every day that opportunity comes to you. So
well, I told Eric after the game Sunday. I said, "Look, thanks for the chance." I said, "The chances are pretty good I'll never call another pitch in the big leagues." And yet I just called my third game today, and that's 3 more than I thought I was ever going to get to do.
Well, and I guarantee you now that you've done those games, you're probably on the short list to fill in whenever they need somebody. If you're available.
Well, when Sam Mellinger first asked me if I would be interested, I told him I'd crawl there. So that tells you I was somewhat interested.
Well, I'm very happy you got that opportunity. It was really awesome. I didn't hear any mistakes. So if you did make any, I didn't catch it.
There's a mistake or two, yeah.
It happens.
But hey.
I do it all the time.
I'd do it again in a heartbeat. I really, truly would. It was a blast.
Well, Wyatt, that's going to wrap it up for Wildcat Insider for the year. I really appreciate it once again for you stepping in and helping me out.
My pleasure, buddy. Enjoyed very much. It was great. We'll do it again next year.
Jerome Tang mentioned Curry Sexton. He'll be on the show Thursday, so we'll talk Wildcat NIL once again.
Have you ever interviewed him?
Oh, many times.
You'll love him. He's
yeah,
awesome.
Curry. I used to destroy him in football. So
that's right. He used to be on your show too a little bit, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's going to wrap it up for Wildcat Insider. For Wyatt Thompson, I'm Mitch Fortner, back for the game tomorrow, 4 to 5:30. Go Cats.